Hi, this is Anna Cortez, back with Card Reading Mastery, and a really juicy topic for today. I think you're going to love it. I think it's my favorite topic so far, if I had to choose, and that is intuition. Intuition. I mean, why else are we doing card reading if not to build our intuition? And I find that the better my intuition gets, the better my whole life goes. I just feel more connected to the world around me. Synchronicities start happening, miracles start happening, and I feel like the universe is supporting me. And instead of me swimming upstream, and a reading is a great way to gauge where you're at with your intuition, and especially a long-term committed card reading practice. It's like watching yourself on a growth chart on the wall. You can gauge your results by your practice. You can see if you're getting better or not, and you can tweak your practice, play around with the techniques you use in a reading to help build your intuition, and that will apply directly to your life. You know, the techniques I use in a reading to fish out the information are the same techniques I use in my life to get connected to the world around me. So it's all just win, 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 win. And the south wind here is a wonderful reminder about intuition. The south wind, or the Four of Diamonds, is all about the unexpected. And when you find something unexpected in a reading, that's a good sign, a very good sign. If it's all what you expected before you laid the cards out, you may not be so connected to your intuition. Be willing to be surprised. And I'm going to write down some of the tips that I use during a reading and in my own life for building intuition so that you can have it written out. It helps me to write it out. But I want to review those with you quickly before we get to the table so you can start thinking about them and looking for them when we get to the table. So my first tip is remember there are no accidents. There are no accidents. That's a big statement, a really big statement. And I know that some of you may have some resistance to that idea, but let me illustrate. When you have the cards out on a table and something doesn't make sense, right? Like you don't quite see how this or that card fits in to the reading. You might start to doubt that card or that reading. Your mind starts going and you think, oh, maybe I didn't shuffle long enough, or, maybe the moon is void today, or gosh, I knew I wasn't supposed to read on days when it was storming outside, and that's why these cards aren't right. You just doubt the reading, and your reading's over at that point. It's really over. You're not allowing yourself to be surprised. So you have to trust that the reading is perfect. That the reading is perfect. This is big. This is big, 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 big stuff. It's like trusting that life is perfect. And then once you have that trust, even if you don't understand what's on the table, your readings will take a quantum leap. A quantum leap. And once you start practicing in this way, if you're not already, you'll see what I mean. So, second tip. The main messages in the reading have a way of jumping up off the table. You shouldn't have to pound it too hard or analyze the cards to get those main messages. Stay out of your analytical mind, please, 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 please. Intuition is not analyzation, right? I like to think of intuition like shopping for a dress, right? You have an event to go to, maybe a wedding, and so you go out shopping, and you're looking for the perfect dress. And as you're flipping through the rack, You don't have to stop and look at every single dress and analyze it and think about each dress. No, you just flip through quickly, quickly, and you trust that the perfect dress is going to pop up off the rack at you, hit you right there. And then you go try it on, and if it doesn't work, you go again. But you don't have to go into deep analyzation, right? Once you start doing that, you're pretty sure to make a mistake when choosing that dress. So look at those main messages that way and wait for them to pop up at you. You know, what if all the cards are red? Acknowledge that. Acknowledge that and start there. Start with those main messages. And let's see what, I know there was one more tip I wanted to bring up at this beginning section. Let me think. I know exactly what it is. Use silence. Use silence. Don't be afraid of silence in a reading, right? After you've said something of significance, stop. It's so fearless to do that. It's so brilliant to just stop talking and let that message seep in like water into dry earth. And if you just keep talking, you've obliterated the significance of those main messages. And the main messages tend to work like keys that open up the rest of the reading. So let them be full, let them be pregnant, and use the silence to do that. It's a tool. And another analogy here that I think will be helpful, a good reading is like unraveling a sweater. You've got this sweater in front of you, and you've got one thread hanging off the bottom. Well, you start with that thread, and you play with it a little bit, and you twirl it around a little, and then a little more comes, a little more reveals itself, and you tug on it some more, and pretty soon you find that that thread weaves and winds its way throughout the whole reading, and all the information supports all the other information. But it all started with that first thread that was obvious, just like the main message in the reading. You start playing with it and working with it, and then all of a sudden the reading starts to bloom like a flower. And the pieces of information that didn't make sense in the beginning suddenly start to make sense, and you get those ahas, right? But you have to work it a little bit. But it should never become a process of analyzation. It's a process of unfolding. And so it is with life. So it's all very exciting, and I'm excited to get to the table. So don't go away, right? It's all about getting this to the table and using your cards. So we'll be back at the table in a minute.